The billionaire laughed loudly as cameras rolled and dozens of experts watched in silence. His luxurious yacht floated helplessly in the bright afternoon sunlight, surrounded by expensive support boats, while 50 of the country's best marine engineers had already admitted defeat. Then his cold voice echoed across the harbor, "If you're so good, then fix my boat." Everyone turned toward the quiet single father standing near the dock, wearing faded jeans, old work boots, and oil-stained hands. Nobody believed that an ordinary mechanic could solve what millions of dollars and the world's finest engineers could not. But sometimes, true genius hides behind the humblest smile. Before we continue this emotional journey, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to Life Spark Stories. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories that remind us hope can appear when we least expect it. The man's name was Rowan Mercer, a 38-year-old widowed father raising his 10-year-old daughter, Nora, alone. Every morning before sunrise, he packed her school lunch, dropped her off with a warm hug, and spent long hours repairing old fishing boats in a tiny workshop beside the sea. His shop was small, his clothes were worn, and his bank account barely covered the bills, but his heart was filled with honesty and determination. Every broken engine that arrived at his dock was treated with patience instead of frustration, because Rowan believed machines, like people, always gave clues if someone cared enough to listen. Across the harbor stood billionaire Adrian Holloway, owner of one of the largest luxury shipping companies in the country. His newest masterpiece, a custom-built superyacht worth hundreds of millions of dollars, had suddenly failed during a public charity event. The advanced hybrid propulsion system refused to start, sophisticated computers displayed endless errors, and every famous engineer called to help left shaking their heads. The media gathered, investors whispered nervously, and Adrian's confidence slowly turned into embarrassment. Rowan had only come to deliver repaired fishing equipment when he noticed the unusual silence around the giant yacht. Instead of staring at the flashing computer screens like everyone else, he listened carefully to the faint vibration coming from deep inside the hull. His years working with forgotten engines had taught him that expensive technology often distracted people from simple mechanical truths. While others searched for complicated software failures, Rowan quietly observed the rhythm of the cooling system, the fuel circulation, and the vibration traveling through the steel frame. Many people laughed when they saw him approach. Some whispered that a poor dock mechanic wanted attention. Others smiled with pity, convinced he would embarrass himself. Adrian himself looked at Rowan's worn clothing and dismissed him with a sarcastic grin before throwing out the challenge that echoed across the marina. Rowan accepted without anger. He climbed aboard carrying only a small toolbox that had belonged to his late father, a fisherman who had taught him that experience often outweighs expensive equipment. Nearly an hour passed beneath the warm afternoon sun. Rowan carefully removed several inspection panels while ignoring the curious crowd. Instead of replacing expensive electronic modules, he discovered something almost invisible. A tiny piece of marine debris had blocked a pressure-balancing valve, creating a chain reaction that confused every computerized monitoring system. The computers were never broken. They had simply been reacting to one hidden mechanical fault that nobody had bothered to check, because everyone trusted technology more than instinct. With steady hands, Rowan cleaned the valve, recalibrated the pressure manually, and restarted the sequence. For several breathtaking seconds, nothing happened. Then the enormous engines came alive with a smooth, powerful roar that echoed across the harbor. Cheers erupted from every direction. Reporters lowered their cameras in disbelief. Experienced engineers stared silently, realizing they had overlooked the simplest answer while chasing the most complicated one. Adrian stood frozen. The confidence that once filled his face disappeared, replaced by genuine humility. For the first time in many years, he saw not a poor mechanic but a father whose quiet wisdom had accomplished what money could not buy. Instead of offering another sarcastic remark, he walked toward Rowan, shook his hand firmly, and publicly thanked him in front of everyone gathered at the marina. That single handshake became tomorrow's biggest headline, but for Rowan, the greatest reward was something far more meaningful. When Rowan returned home that evening, Nora ran into his arms with the biggest smile he had seen since losing her mother. She proudly showed him the news playing on television, where every reporter called him the man who solved the impossible. Rowan smiled gently because he knew success was never about proving others wrong. It was about staying kind when the world underestimated you and continuing to work with integrity even when nobody was watching. If this story touched your heart, please support Life Spark Stories by liking this video, sharing it with friends and family, subscribing to the channel, and telling us where you're watching from. Your encouragement inspires us to keep sharing stories filled with hope and humanity. Special request: comment below with "Kindness always wins" if you believe that talent shines brightest when it is guided by humility and compassion.